Seattle has nothing to play for, the 3 seed in the NFC, but that does not mean that Mike Holmgren is going to rest everybody at Atlanta. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz, NFL.com's Pat Kerwin.
Jason.
Glad to be with you on the final week of the NFL previews presented by Comcast, at least final regular season weekend. Pat, this week, leading up to the game in Atlanta,
Sure.
Mike Holmgren has talked about back in 2005 when his team had the 1 seed all locked up and he rested everybody in the final week of the season. They lost that game. They made the Super Bowl, but he didn't like the fact that they rested everybody. Do you expect him to completely change it this time around?
No, I think he's going to rest players. First off, they're not a very good road team. Secondly, he's got to rest some of his players. He's already seen T.O. go down. He's seen Willie Parker go down. He can imagine what his team will be like if he had a critical injury like that. He might go into the game and play people early, but I think you're going to see a lot of them pull as the game goes on. And remember this, you're talking about a Seattle team that only scores 19 points on the road. When their good players play, they're going to struggle in Atlanta.
Matt Hasselbeck is the guy he can ill afford to lose. I mean, that's the quarterback of this
Sure
team, and
is.
he is certainly the guy that makes them go. Is he the quarterback in the NFC right now, of the teams that are going to be in the playoffs, of the 5 that you know are guaranteed in the playoffs? Is he the quarterback that you trust the most, aside from Brett Favre?
You know, I think it's a good question. I like Romo quite a bit, but if Romo has to play Seattle down the road, we're being a little premature here, and he doesn't have T.O. on the field against Seattle. Seattle's got a good secondary, a terrific pass rush. It'll be a problem for Dallas to have to play the Seattle Seahawks without T.O. on the field.
So then Matt Hasselbeck would be a guy you trust.
Here's what I love about Matt. He's got 27 touchdown passes. It's his best year in his career, and he distributes the ball all over the field. Go back and check the medical history. He's had a couple of good players out. The next guy comes in the game, and because of their system, pure West Coast, they're able to do nice things with the football.
You talked about Seattle's defense, and in this game, if they give up 13 points or fewer, they will set a franchise record for fewest points allowed in a season. And it all starts up front with Patrick Kearney.
Well, Patrick Kearney is going home to Atlanta, where he played for a long time, 9 years, signed a big deal. The Falcons didn't think his health was going to warrant a big long-term deal. He's leading the NFL in sacks. Now, a lot of the guys at the top of the sack list all have critical games, and their teams trying to rest those players. It'll be interesting to see how much they let Patrick go. Every player is going to go on that field on Sunday and say, let me play, let me play. It's the head coach's job to monitor that, because if you lose him in that game, and in what is a meaningless game, you're going to regret it for a long time.
All right, for Atlanta here, it's obviously a couple games without Bobby Petrino. It's their last game before figuring out what they have to do. If they lose and St. Louis and the Jets both win, the Falcons wrap up the 2 seed, or the number 2 overall pick in next year's NFL draft. Is this the team that has the furthest to go up?
Well, I don't know that. I think they're all pretty much in a mess down at the bottom. But I say this. I watched the Falcons very closely last week. They held Edgerrin James to 76 yards. They played inspired football. They should have won a game in Arizona. And they love Emmett Thomas, who's going to retire after this, I believe. And so I think they're going to play very hard for Emmett. There's a lot of pride. A lot of players know there's a new coach coming, and I'm probably going to get cut. That's how a lot of guys think in this environment they're in. There might even be a new GM, and they'll be cut for that reason. So guys are going to play this game not like quitters, but like this is my audition tape for another football team. I'm looking for Atlanta to play their best game of the year.
Yeah, get the reel out there and start videotaping individual guys. Let's take AccuScore here. It's the 10,000 mathematical tests, 10,000 elements. An unbelievable, Pat. It's a toss-up, obviously, because of the fact that it's a meaningless game.
Well, it's a meaningless game for Seattle, and they should not take any risks, but it's not meaningless for the Falcons. And as I said, watching how they played for Emmett, I expect them to play very hard. Redmond threw for 300 yards last week. Julius Norwood's trying to make a statement about how he is. And what would Seattle want to do when they get here? They're going to want to run the ball and get out of town as fast as you can. And Atlanta's run defense is not that bad right now. That's why I'm going to take the Falcons.
Yeah, Jamal Anderson, the rookie from Arkansas, has been pretty good this year when able to play. So that's the situation there. For more on this game or any other here in Week 17, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com. Watch everything else on the CBS Audience Network. For NFL.com's Pat Kerwin, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care.